Okay, welcome to Aftermath. The things that are broken or wrong in Aftermath, but we have to live with that. But still, it's like some tips for the for wannabe designers. Point 13 of the list is the rules on the white suit are a fucking mess. If you initiate with white, you can only follow up with white or cards with the same value. But if you initiate with a non-white card, then you can follow up with white cards. Suddenly they represent any attribute color. Oh, and in opposing tests it's different. So they are while the white cards suit is wild in some cases and a color in some others in other cases. That is just unhelpful. The notion 14 is this. The notion when you acquire an item from the colony supply tick box, it is always broken unless it is indestructible. There is no notion in the game of indestructible, but things with repair cost none. I hope I have it here. Yeah, something like this. It has no repair cost, so it is indestructible. That's my definition. Other things have a repair cost. Let me take a random, yeah, something like the aluminum armor has a repair cost, so it can be broken, and if it is if it comes out of the colony supply box when you load the game, then it is broken. Makes no sense. Makes no thematic sense. Selling indestructible items yields 0 scrap. Less than breakable items. So it makes no sense that the colony breaks items. The natural notion of indestructible is entirely missing. Now the black resolution die, this thing, is said to represent thematically opposing forces, but because it is added to the difficulty of the test, and the difficulty is known beforehand, then the black resolution die should be rolled before committing any cards to the test. The rulebook starts with a regular skill test and tries to describe what is different in the opposed skill test. Yeah, that is a very bad idea. So what you have here is the regular skill test, and then an opposed skill test. But the opposed skill test just names some differences versus a regular skill test, but it's not complete. And here is again heroic action cards. So the white action cards have all of the attribute symbols, so they can be played as the first card in any skill test. So this belongs to both of them. It is unclear how sections are related to each other, and that's something that comes across in other parts of the rulebook as well, if you can call it a rulebook. Okay, so the rulebook starts with a regular skill test and tries to describe what is different in a opposed skill test, but it's incomplete and incohesive. The white dice should be rolled after the card commits as per rulebook, but if interpreted as benevolent forces, you can rule out that to roll before card play. So what you do in an opposed skill test is you roll black, count the difficulty with the printed, then you apply cards, and then you apply some chaos in the form of white die. With a regular skill test, the difficulty level is fixed. That's all. It should be as simple as that. Now, when generating enemies, first drawing a random enemy card of a type, that's 16, then having to shuffle them is not optimal. You see that it happens as per instructions. Also gamers fall into this. You you draw random cards for an enemy, and then the enemies of the given type. So scrappers, for example, no leader. Until you have them, and then you shuffle. You have to shuffle them to randomize the placement in the thread track here. But the order in which you drew them, because the deck was already shuffled, is random. So you don't need to randomize the randomness. it's already random, so you don't need to shuffle. It's just poorly thought of in the rulebook, and some playtesting should have improved that. But that's the way how I upgraded the rulebook to some small quality of life changes. Okay, 17. When generating enemies, it is not clear whether or not to include bosses. So you have these encounter cards, which I also shuffled, sleeved, and these sometimes some of the cards say to take some enemy time. For example, here a random nomads is the number of characters. But the thing is, if you include the bosses, then you can draw a veteran nomad or a boss nomad. So yeah, that's not clear. And if the bosses and veterans are not to be included, then when do they come into play? And that should be somewhere in written form. Now, page topology. Page topology as written is broken. So let's take an enemy and a character. Yeah. Page topology says that each map of a page, the first part of a page consists of spaces. Space topology needs some explanation. And what the rulebook says is you make a line from any part of the base to any part of the other base, to target base. So what you should do is, but it doesn't matter where they are. So it could be like so, and or like so. It doesn't matter. The point is that the adjacency here is not well defined on the cross. But what you can do is just simply say that the base should be on the inside of a page of a space, and this also on the inside. And any point on the inside has a distance here of 1. But otherwise, you would have a distance of this and this would be adjacent. I hope that makes a little sense. Yeah, that's just a lack of technical training that is highlighted here, but it is it's easily fixed. Player turn order and Bookkeeper is clumsy, so aftermath standard player turn order is strictly clockwise. So you may have to wait 3 turns while your action does not impact anything. So for example, you're just scurrying around here to find clues, and the rest is busy fighting or something. some modern board games allow more flexibility, let players decide who goes when. Because after all, it's a cooperative game and people can wait for each other as long as nobody takes 2 turns in a row. But it is the old style clockwise from Eurogames from 1980. Now consider a page with both normal enemies with enemy cards, so like so, a normal enemy, and lower life forms without an enemy card, like this. The rulebook doesn't say anything about who acts first in the enemy resolution phase. It says things about normal enemies, and it says things about lower life forms via environment card, but it doesn't say which goes before the other. It only says that after the player turn, those get to act. That's just clumsy. And there is a weird disconnect between enemies placed in the hunt space on the threat track and enemies in the hunt duck box. So you have here the hunt space, and you have the hunt duck box. And now, as I already said, this hardly gets filled ever. But when do you place them here? Why is there even a space? Then there is a text up to 1, so that's 22, up to 1 space away, and makes the ranged attack description contradictory and muddy. So for that, let's get rid of this. The problem is here in action melee attack and action ranged attack. This says here, if in the ranged attack, if the situation is hostile, you may perform a ranged attack by targeting an enemy up to 1 space away and within line of sight of your character, even if you have a 5 range shotgun, right? Up to 1 space away. The difficulty of the test is target's defense, etc. Then that's overruled by a ranged weapon. An enemy equipped with a range